Welcome back to another episode of TC Crossroads. My name is Harry Oram.
And I'm Dhaivat Mehta.
How long am I going to do that for until I know who we are? So today we want to talk about the news and who can you trust, more from a cultural perspective rather than a political one on us taking sides and going, they're for that side and don't listen to them, or we're for this side and whatever. I think more just from a cultural perspective, which is our channel. What does that mean?
So
let's first go. What happened?
Yes,
what happened?
So just kind of recapping. So I know the basics. Harry can fill in. So the BBC aired a deceptively edited clip of Trump, making him seem that on January 6th he said to go to the Capitol and fight. When in reality the words that he was saying in that edited clip was like different context over an hour-long speech, right? And obviously, because of the internet, like this came out, and the head of BBC had to step down. A couple of other people, like the main producer, and Trump is thinking of suing them for $200 million.
So if this didn't happen in today's day, let's say it happened 20 years earlier, do you think they would have got away with something like this?
Bro, this is what I was saying. They have done this before. During COVID, when Joe Rogan got COVID, right? He did a selfie video saying, look, I got COVID, I'm doing this. CNN deceptively edited it to make him look sicker. They degraded his skin tone, like all of this stuff. And they got away with that because it was during COVID time. So, and this is not the only thing. There was a viral photo of Anderson Cooper basically like reporting from a storm, and he's standing and like this is really bad. His like legs are like half like put, and then behind him someone's just chilling, just walking normally. Right? This is what I'm saying. The news are produced by the same people that give you your movies and TV shows.
Okay, so what I find is really interesting nowadays is, let's say I am standard normal person, I'm not too interested in politics, I've got a lot going on with my family or with business, and whenever you say stuff like that, I'm like, conspiracy theory, I should be able to trust the mainstream news, right? So when the BBC or CNN tell me something like that, like why should I trust them? Because they have the track record, right? That you could argue that they're the most recognized, or they're the most like peer-reviewed or qualified, or and so like I should be able to trust them, right?
Yes, in an ideal world, because you should be able to turn on the 6 o'clock news and expect to get some sort of truth, right? And this used to be the case, like in the early days of TV journalism, there were legit investigative journalists and like all of this like more independent stuff, and then slowly but surely the it all got consolidated into corporations,
because from that perspective, the news is like a tool of the people, right? And so the news and journalism can attack the government for the people, right? That's why we put so much emphasis on freedom of press, to criticize the government and things like that. Because if you don't have that ability, then how can the people criticize the government?
That's the first thing in a totalitarian state. They capture the media.
Yeah. Because
that is, especially something like the news, right? Like let alone TV and movies.
Yeah.
So just in terms of news alone, as you say, most people are just busy with their lives.
Yeah.
They don't have time to look into things.
Yeah.
And whatever they see on the 6 o'clock news or whatever, they will think that about the issue.
Okay, I'm going to give you a job right now. You are going to play devil's advocate. you're gonna steelman the argument of I'm the average person. Why should I still trust the mainstream news today? Why should I still turn on the 6 p.m. news and go, that is my best source of information, rather than the internet crazy conspiracy theories and stuff like that?
So you want me to make that
argument,
which I don't believe in at all.
No,
I would say that you should watch the mainstream news because we are trusted. We have a track record of journalism. The other sources that you may get on the internet or social media, they have not been verified, edited, has gone through none of the processes that you expect them to go through in order to give you the truth. So you have to trust us because...
Wait, just on that. What are these processes that you're going through that a YouTuber isn't? A YouTuber journalist, a self-proclaimed YouTuber journalist.
Yes, we verify, double verify. Like, we go through editorial process.
Who checks that?
We have a team of producers.
So you have an internal team.
That's what we do.
You have an internal process.
Yes.
So I could say that if I was a YouTuber, and I go, I have an internal process to verify. Like, I've got a team of 2. My producer checks my stuff.
But that is the argument that they're making, is that everything on the internet is conspiracy fluff and not fact checked, and our stuff is being fact checked and is verified, and we are the authoritative source on information that you need to know.
So quick segue, right? Because this is a really interesting time before we get into looking at it from the YouTuber conspiracy point of view. What about AI, right? If you look at X, and you can tweet something. What do you call posting on X nowadays?
I still call it a tweet.
So if I tweet something and it's inaccurate, AI will pull it up, right? They have fact-checking systems now, right? Can we trust AI to do that? Can AI be the source of truth? Is that massively dangerous?
So that's what I mean. So during the COVID era, right, these online fact checkers popped up. Right, Facebook, Twitter, it's like everything.
There's websites, right?
Right,
fact checking.
Yeah. And that was like linked to like the CDC, the health, like the WHO, like that kind of institutionalization. And then now with AI and like under a lot of posts, they have the community notes. Right, which is the just everyday readers verifying it. And then, someone will ask Grok, is this true? Grok.
So that has to be used, that's user pushed, right? Okay.
Yeah. And then AI will spit out an answer. And no, you cannot trust AI because AI is programmed by the same people that program the news.
Okay. So, now you're going to represent the YouTube journalist.
Yeah.
Okay. What the biggest come to mind are what? Who? Candace Owens, right? You wouldn't put Joe Rogan up there, right?
No, Joe Rogan's not.
What about Tucker Carlson? He's from mainstream, right?
Yeah.
So you would argue that Tucker, right, has sort of in terms of trustworthy, he has the pedigree, but he's also now independent and you could say everything he couldn't say in the past. Now he can say. Surely that's more trustworthy.
Yes.
Okay. Again, so YouTube argument.
Again, you have to look at so in this camp, right? Like Tucker Carlson comes from traditional media, so his audience is already through that, right? So he was able to start up a YouTube channel, get 5 million subscribers, like that. Now the conversations that he's having now, there's no way he could have done anything like that under the produced umbrella of Fox News. And he got fired, you could say, because he was the highest watched rated show on Fox News.
Interesting.
Highest rated, right? But I think during COVID time or a little bit after he resigned or whatever, we don't know what happened. But and then with Candace, the same thing from Daily Wire, her public.
But Daily Wire is independent.
And audience, is it? So we get those two type of people. Now, the thing.
So what would you class Joe Rogan?
Huh?
What would you class Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan is.
He's not a journalist. He's just talking.
I think he's the male Oprah. Like if like Oprah was 3 hours, you know.
Interesting.
Because
just on Trump's election, you know, so many people said that his interview with Trump had a massive influence, especially on a different demographic.
Same with
and not having Kamala had a detriment effect to her campaign.
Yeah.
So then the question is then, like going back to that original argument, is with mainstream media, you're meant to have more access than the regular people.
Okay.
Right? But if that's not happening anymore, then what's the point of having mainstream media?
This is what I'm saying. Like, the mainstream no longer has, for like a few years, hasn't got nowhere near the numbers of YouTubers, Joe Rogan listeners. You like you know, CNN tried to start a CNN Plus, which was like their online podcasting service, right? Got canned in like a year. No one was listening to it. So that's not. So the issue is that this artificial network of mainstream establishments is being propped up for reasons of narrative. Right now, when political figures go on Joe Rogan and like things like that, like you have to understand, like there's like certain ways of operating within the political system. Like Trump has 1 million advisors asking him to do 1 million things, right? So their ways of operating is still old, right? Allegedly, what happened was Barron Trump set up the Theo Vaughn interview and the Tim Dillon interviews and all of that because he's like, yo, you like
they're getting the views.
What are you guys doing?
You want to influence,
Why are you on Fox News with Sean Hannity, who's been doing it for 60 years when a CIA
to pull it back, because I don't want to look at I don't want to pull up the curtain, because the thing is, like, I still want to represent that average guy, and then it gets, you know, arguably you could say scary. And the thing is, like, and I don't know, absolutely. And I don't know what is true or not, and what is conspiracy. And the thing is, when we get into that, like, if you became a YouTuber, and for you to grow or for you to get noticed, you need to be more sensational than truthful, then of course they're all going to lend to more sensationalism, right? So and then to get access, if I was like born to be a journalist and I was like aligned to truth, for me to get to have access to people, you know, it's tough. So either I join the institutions, or you've got to like be like a vice.
And so this is what I was saying. What I was going to say with the Candace and Tucker situation. At that point, then what matters now is you're beholden to your sponsors. Right? What you can say and do and the restrictions you have will be dependent on how much you're willing to lose.
It's so tough, right? Because then I could go, okay, but what if you're independently wealthy?
Yeah.
But then you know, and you could say that Elon Musk did that with X, right? He goes, he's independently wealthy, he cares about truth, so he's there. But then you make the argument of, okay, independently wealthy, now you have power, now you're going to use it for your own agenda. So there's always going to be the pros and cons to it.
Yeah, but like, you know, this was, I'm not sure if you remember, there was an incident, Tracy Morgan got in trouble for saying, you know, something about like, if he had a gay son, like, you know, like a homophobic joke. And then he had to do a apology tour.
I remember that, yeah.
Patrice O'Neill, the great Patrice O'Neill, right? Who was like, you know, just like say like whatever the fuck you want. And like Bert Kreischer was saying this story. Is like he was saying, look, Tracy is like beholden to all these stakeholders, right? I am not. I can say literally whatever I want. Right, so it's about
Cat Williams is like
So it's like it's about how much you're willing to lose, how much stake. Like, so that is always going to be the case, because ultimately you want to monetize your
platform.
your platform, what you
so
do.
you can sustain it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and like right now, I think this era of like influencer journalism, because so many people watch like Twitch streamers and stuff like that. You know, like I think that era is gonna turn into fad.
So that's
because the same money that's in these mainstream news is already
it's
going into these
It's
same.
inevitable.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose power, and I think that's what's so dangerous too. Because let's say going back to who I am, if I'm like I just want to get a news source that I can trust, and now you've convinced me maybe it's not mainstream media anymore. So now I'm looking at the plethora of journalists on YouTube, and I'm going, okay, well, Tucker, ex-journalist, blah blah blah. You know, Candace, interesting, but then it's so dangerous, right? Because if they built up credibility and then they turn, right? Now I've crowned them my source of truth.
That's
right?
so this is very, very interesting, right? Nick Fuentes has been on Alex Jones's show 5-6 times.
Yeah.
Mad debates, great debates.
Yeah.
The rift didn't happen until he did Tucker, because Tucker.
Oh, Alex Jones thought he sold out.
No. The rift in MAGA that's happening.
MAGA, okay.
Because Tucker represents a figurehead in the MAGA commentariat, right? Alex Jones is just some InfoWars crazy conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. So in terms of the political influence, the political commentary online, you have those figureheads that are insiders, that are approved, you know, and that is gonna happen no matter what. From both parties, from all sides. They pay influencers, everything.
Like obviously we're not going to fix this problem, but I think one of the strong appeals to why Joe Rogan is still like at the top as an influencer is that long form content, because I feel like you can't. It's so much harder to lie to people.
You can't bullshit for 3 hours.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Right. But the thing is, what does that mean for me when it's like, oh, dude, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have hours and hours and hours, you know? And then if you go, oh, you can just watch Joe Rogan shorts or TikToks, then it's the same thing. It's clipped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, again, it has to be up to the individual and the citizen, because the reason that the mainstream narrative has power is because of exactly what you said.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's so interesting is this has been a human problem for thousands of years, right?
Kind of.
You know, I mean, Plato's allegory, you know, the cave with the shadows, and it's just like, okay, well, what are you seeing, and what is truth, right? And what is someone telling you? How do you recognize truth? And so I had this really, like, I was thinking about it a lot, and I was like, you know, it's something. It's one of the reasons why I like the model of the church, right, and how it deals with this, right, because it says to build this community of people that you trust, and then you hold each other accountable, and so you don't like crown somebody as the source of truth, right, but what you want is you want each individual to be knowledgeable, right? And then we hold ourselves accountable, right? And so that there's a bit of onus on you to take that responsibility to keep informed, and that's why I'm open to hearing all kinds of views, even if I think they're far right, far left. I think information is power, and it gives you the ability to discern the truth. Right, but at the same time, you need some sort of moral compass. Otherwise, somebody's going to tell it for you, right? And you're gonna fall for a cult of personality, who's just going to tell you what you should believe in. But that's why I just think before we move on, I also think in terms of okay, I'm born into this world. I should be able to trust my family. right? I should be able to trust my mother and my father to tell me what's right from wrong and how to like live. Then outside that, I should have like my little village, right? And we should be, as a small community, as a village, all be able to agree somewhat on like our values, our collective values.
Yeah.
If my neighbor thinks something completely different and that one, then how do I know which one's right? Right? And we all have completely differing views, and now we're all listening to completely different things, and it's like, how are we meant to like coexist? Right? That's why I find it interesting when you see communities that want to be like, hey, look, I just want our little community to like just have these shared common values. I don't think that's like racist, because it's not bound by ethnicity, it's bound by values, right? And it's bound by so I think if it happens and they all want to be communists, like New York elected their new mayor, if that's what they all want, then
But the thing is, you have to build up the individual.
Yes.
To not be susceptible to this mainstream.
So how do you do that?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to do. So again, the mainstream extends all the way through our education system, through the way our culture is set up, right? With like pop music and like whatever. Mainstream is set up completely to keep us in that matrix, and one of the tragedies of our existence is how programmable human nature is. Like, even when you say you have to trust your family to like give you the truth, you are being programmed to think like they think.
Yeah.
Right? That's why the first 7 years is so important. So
but the Asian part of me is like, who am I to rebel against my Asian?
Yeah, no.
My parents.
Again, that's what I mean. So it's like heritage and tradition, right? And the program of that has carried on for a certain people in a certain time for generations. So like heritage and tradition are important. That way, you will be less susceptible to the influences, right? And I think like this matrix goes all the way to the breakdown of the extended family, like the influences of the influences of the tribe rather than the state.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
It's like instead of trying to govern 100 million people that have widely very like, shouldn't we just get back to more local?
Yes.
Something where it's like okay, I don't know what this guy's telling me thousands of miles away, who knows nothing about me, but I know you.
Yeah.
Right. And I know my neighbor.
So this is where this is completely another conversation, but I don't think we should have nations. Nations are too big. We should have something smaller.
What did the Greeks have?
Back to
city-states.
Yeah, like city-states, village tribes, whatever, and then they can be kind of because you cannot remove the element of blood and soil and ethnicity. Even with
but nations are.
I know. So it's like this is a very complicated conversation about native populations and cultures and
we'll say that for another topic, because that's
the imposed
one of the crux.
But I agree with you. Like, things should be much smaller because they're easier to control rather than this grand national government. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, so for right now, again, I'm not going to listen to mainstream media. Where should I get my information from?
Yeah, dude, here's the thing. I haven't watched CNN or MSNBC for like 7 years, right? But I think you should get your information from everywhere. You should have a media diet.
Because you know what's interesting too is, before you want to know something, you Google it. Can you still Google? People don't Google anymore. They
people
chat
AI
GPT
it. Yeah, people AI.
Right, and you think that's dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, again, yes, because we are being told to think in the programmable. We've been told to think in the way that AI has been programmed to tell us to think.
By the way, on that, like, just because I was going to say this before, what you said, I think is really, really, really key about education, because I think for so long, like modern education, probably from when we were kids, it's about like passing exams. So what is that? That's just programming. It's like, this is this, memorize it, and then regurgitate it, right? And we don't spend enough time on critical thinking.
Man, the current education system across the world was created during the second industrial revolution, where they were just trying to get factory workers. So it's like, just get them enough. That's why, you have bells, you have recess, right? Just get them smart enough so that they can work at the factory. And we're still in a model of education from the second industrial revolution.
I need to look it up, like the Enlightenment. Like what was different about that period? What blew people's minds that like
yeah, the same with the Renaissance period.
Exactly.
It was kind of a similar cultural revival.
But but the thing is that you think about, you just look at pictures and stories of how people were before the Second World War or something. Everyone was reading a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
then everyone's trusting the paper. But
Yeah,
then you
exactly.
have a variety of papers.
And then you have that movie, that guy that Citizen Kane was based on, William Randolph Hearst, was just consolidating all the media.
Yeah. But what I find crazy too is, like, when I was a kid, no way would I ever have thought that if you were a journalist, you could be a multimillionaire. I thought journalists were like, it was like a calling,
Yeah.
And
Rachel
you were like,
Maddow gets paid $30 million per episode.
Dude,
Right?
that can't be true.
Yeah, well, she used to. I'm not sure if she still does.
30 million per episode.
Per episode. Right? Like, so that's what I mean. Okay, like, one of the things you also have to realize, right? Up until the 80s, there was the Telecommunications Act, which meant that independent media outlets can exist at state level, right? I think one of the presidents was Clinton or whatever, got rid of it. And that's when all these media outlets started being swallowed up by Viacom, Time Warner, right? So now you have 5 companies that own every single media outlet. And you think
what about independent
that Fox
ones?
News is independent.
What about independent ones?
Like what?
They don't exist. Or
Like
they
what?
get swallowed up. I don't know, like what's new ones like Babylon Bee, or even like satirical ones like The Onion or whatever.
Yeah, I mean like those types are just much smaller. They have a different purpose. So like, I don't know if the Babylon Bee is owned by some conglomerate. Maybe it is, because the thing is that
that's why you need the diet, right?
Yeah. And the thing is that, again, that's what's propping up these dying networks, is these massive conglomerates just pumping in money for narrative. No one watches CNN. They play it at airports, and that's how they judge their ratings. It's insane.
But this is actually one of the reasons why I liked Charlie Kirk so much, because I really like watching debates. I like to see ideas. I like to see somebody pushing back and going, well, what about this? Rather than just like having someone just like dictate to you information, and
Right.
you go, okay.
So that's another crazy thing that happened with social media, is that, with the newspapers you had letters to the editor, right? That way, some way you could have a point of interaction with what's the information that's being given to you. But with like social media, it like opened up a two-way channel that changed culture. They got the Snyder Cut out because of social media, right? They just pressured Warner Brothers. So now, and like now with every movie, big studios like official Universal account is like replying to like tweets and things like that. So it's like they have to please that audience.
So I think
now.
I think this is why the BBC, why what's happened with the BBC is so damaging for the normal people who BBC I think was the top of the top in terms of credibility because it was publicly funded by the UK, right? To get away from publicly funded by the people, to get away from that, here's $30 million. If you want your next paycheck, kind of don't say this, say this. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I don't know enough about Rachel Maddow.
But that's what Joe Rogan said. It's
So
like
let's say
BBC was for smart people. It's like, oh, you watch the BBC. You know, like.
but it's so interesting too because, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that. I think we would have to do a whole other episode deep dive into the transformation of the BBC because I know they were subject to a lot of DEI. They were subject to a lot of like we gotta represent
and
what the views of the people because it's funded by the. But what about? But then who's representing truth?
Yeah.
Like you know.
I know, and people don't realize the impact of the COVID.
But that's the thing is like represent truth. I kind of somewhat almost respect if I went into a territory, right, where they all believed in the same thing, right, and they had a news channel, and that news channel just was a mouthpiece of what they said, I'd be like, I respect it. At least I know what everyone believes now, or at least I know it's like, but then that's pure propaganda. Can we call it news anymore? You know?
Yeah.
It's like a loop.
Can I? Okay.
But it was almost like. Wait. Do you remember that? Do you remember that movie, World War Z?
Ages
ago. But I remember they like one of the they make a trip to Israel, and the guy was saying how they have a committee, and on the committee there's a job for one of them to just take the opposing view, even if he doesn't believe it. Like it's his job to like take that position. And I was like, maybe that's what the news should be, right? Where it's just like, you know, where it's like, even if all of you believe this, I'm going to be the one that like checks you.
So that was the case. It was called the Fairness Doctrine, and it was in place until the 90s, or like 80s or 90s. It was called the Fairness Doctrine, and you know, again, Reagan or Clinton, or you know, whoever took that away. That means, and that means that, you know, news can just be one-sided. I also want to say this because, like, I know people don't want to hear it, but like, you have to take this into account because the media has got millions of our brothers and sisters killed. So in the 70s, during the church committee hearings, it came out that the CIA had 400 operatives operating within the U.S. media system. Right?
But the thing is, you're saying this now, but then like me being an average guy, I'm going like, conspiracy.
But it's all fact. It's true. Like, it actually came out in the church committee. You can read the documents. You can see Alan Dulles, the director of the CIA, admitting we have 400 operatives in the U.S. media right now. This was in the 70s. There's no evidence that program was ever shut down. It's called Operation Mockingbird, if you want to look it up. So that means that there are voices in the media that represent the military-industrial complex, certain interests in the weapons industry.
Even if the president is replaced, these would still be there.
Yes. So that's what I mean. Like, that kind of influence, like, it's hard to, you know.
That's why I go back to small community. Like, let's get back to like small community radio as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, pirate radio,
that kind of thing. Like, but like have a diet. You know, listen to your global news. Listen to your.
Yeah.
But okay, so quick, just to wrap it up. Let's say you hear this story from me. Okay. BBC, Trump, blah blah blah. Where do you go to like learn more? Where's your first stop?
X, Twitter.
Twitter, and because you get so many different comments so quickly, like why X?
And it's also more instantaneous.
Interesting.
In terms of
fastest
coverage.
update.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also the algorithm that I have, I get multiple perspectives on the same clip or the same thing, you know. So like, yes, I follow some radical lefty communist accounts, you know, and I follow super far right accounts, right, and then like some foreign Indian accounts.
That's your diet, yeah.
You know, so it's just like that algorithm kind of gives me like a spectrum. So, but like again, like social media is also very algorithm dependent. So if you are just looking at one type of thing, it'll just show you that type of thing.
I don't know how you would get there though. Like, let's say I'm happy in my bubble. I'm happy in my, what do they call it when you're like in your little ecosystem and everyone says the same thing as you? Like, what if I'm happy in that? Like, what would it take for someone to come along and say, hey, like, it would have to take me going, I want to know more. I want to know the truth. Right? Or I want to know.
It's like, you can't be told what the matrix is, you have to see it for yourself. Yeah. So it's like, I agree, most people are going to stay blue pill, we just have to get as many out as possible.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people want to turn on shows, even if it's like, you know, late night hosts, they want to hear people say what they're thinking and hear their viewpoint. No one wants to like turn on something at 7 p.m. and be challenged.
Yeah, and the thing is, no one knows, like, when they turn on Stephen Colbert, right? His like monologue is written by like 8 overpaid writers, right? There are like 3 producers that are like in everyone's ear. There's a crowd warmer. Like, people don't know how produced what they watch is, you know? They just think, oh, like Stephen Colbert just saying this stuff.
What's so funny is it's in our movies when we do like dystopian stuff, like Hunger Games, and then you'll have this like crazy host that like everyone's like, oh, that's like, you know, as like the spokesperson for your. It's even in like Lord of the Rings, right, where you have like the mouth of Sauron, and it's just like, you know.
But you also have to be careful though, because now I think in the era that is coming, right? Because you had Trump go from the the business world and the entertainment world to politics, right? And a lot of his first run was propped up by the Nick Fuenteses of the world, the 4chaners, you know, things like that, memeing thing. So that era that got Trump elected, right, and those people and that mentality is not going to go away. See, so politics is going to change because of what's happening online.
But just again, trying to wrap it up again. This is my second attempt. I agree with you on the media diet, but I want to see. Let's say I was like 90 and I have like 12 sons, and they like want some last wisdom. I would go, okay, listen to the sage Dhaivat. You don't know him when I was younger, and he would. I say, but media diet important. But I'd say you like the search for truth outwards. But I said you've got to work on the search of truth inwards, so that nobody can sway with your like moral compass, you know. And I think you need to, because like so many times I see that, like even like something like Free Palestine or whatever. One of these big issues, you can see sometimes people are like, I don't know what to feel about this. I don't know what to think about this. I want someone to tell me, because you don't have a very strong internal conviction guiding your decisions and your thought process.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
It's the same thing with COVID. When you're like, well, what's everyone doing? Because the thing is, you can have strong arguments on both cases. You don't want to put people in jeopardy. You can have, that's not representative of our area. We were quite crime. No, I'm talking about the police. No, but you can have very strong moral basis on either side, you're the anti-vaccinated. So you need to have a strong, and the thing is, like, even if I disagree with you, I respect that more. Yeah. Right? Than somebody who's just like so wishy-washy because they haven't cultivated
discernment, man. Because so much shit is being thrown at us, literally. discernment, and then as you said, building yourself up to be uncorruptible. You know, as much as possible. You know, I mean, because we're all
that means either to make yourself strong financially as well, or you have to be someone that just doesn't care about money.
Yeah, or because you know, again, like as I said,
Maybe
the people that are actually gonna make dents will be people that literally don't fear anything.
But you know what's funny then?
They
Is
don't
that
fear
it's
losing
like
their life.
imagine because let's say we were creating a world and we were creating a society like that, then our truth tellers would almost be like priests, right? Because they would be like uncorruptible outside of society, and their whole goal is to pursue truth. That sounds way more like like a prophet than a news person.
Like again, the way that society is set up, like you need a priest class. You need the philosopher class, like, because they are the ones that actually hash out those ideas.
And have the time, but have the time.
Have the time to hash out those ideas before they're pushed into culture.
Yes.
Right? And so what has happened over the past few decades is that ideas being pushed into culture, and the philosophers don't have time to articulate how we're going to deal with this and what it means for our existence.
And we cannot outsource that to AI.
No,
we cannot.
No, we cannot. We cannot. So it's it's like that kind of, like, we have to empower the philosopher class and the priest class.
But it is crazy too. Like, there are people who do turn to AI for a moral compass, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like we can't. I know right now it's very novel and it's the shiny new thing, but how much input we're giving into it.
Yeah.
Right. Like it is interfacing with how we start to think.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah. That was
way longer than we thought. All right. Nice, man. Let's do it again.
Cool.